Sydney against Melbourne, but not as we know it. Tonight it's about two men, Harry Kewell and Brett Emerton. Two of the game's biggest names and two of Australia's biggest clubs square off in a match that's set to redefine the rivalry between the two cities. History will be written tonight. Brace yourself. The Big Blue just got bigger. Well, has there ever been a more eagerly anticipated game of football in the Hyundai A-League? Weeks of build-up centred around two very special returning Australians. Now it's finally here, and with all due respect to the Jets and the Hearts, the season really starts here at Etihad Stadium. 40,000 have rocked up for this, the latest instalment of what was already a huge rivalry. Now with Harry Kewell and Brett Emerton on board, this really does have big time written all over it. Let's take a check on the two-team lineup, starting with Melbourne victory. Two big decisions for debutant coach Mehmet Durakovic with the fullback roles and in attack. He's plucked for Matthew Foschini and Fabio on the flanks, so there's no Matthew Kemp. Billy Selesky gets the nod over Lee Broxham in one of the screening roles, and Danny Alsop is preferred to Jean-Carlos Solorzano in leading the line. But it's Harry Kewell that the Victory fans have come to see. 16 years as a pro, tonight is his first ever club game on home soil. Now Sydney FC have opted to go with Mark Bridge up front in preference to Bruno Casarin, and with the returning Carol Kissel on the injury list, 17-year-old Terry Antonis will play at the point of the diamond. Brett Emerton's last appearance in a club game in Australia was down the road at Olympic Park for Sydney Olympic against Carlton 11 years ago. That match was watched by just 2,500. It's a little bit different tonight. Well, here they come, and all eyes on two men. Harry Kewell wearing the dark blue of Melbourne Victory, and are about to appear on your screens very shortly wearing the sky blue of Sydney FC, Brett Emerton. The stands are packed, the roof is closed, the pitch looks perfect, and we are all set. The anticipation in this city has been building all day. All that remains is for the two teams to appear and the cauldron of noise to erupt at Etihad Stadium. A big rivalry in any case, as we say, but the off-season activity has made it just that little bit bigger. The start of the season, always a nervous and exciting times for players, but this is going to be something very, very special indeed. It's time to light the blue touch paper. It's dark blue versus sky blue. In Australian vernacular, this is the Big Blue, and Etihad Stadium just about ready to explode. Cop a load of this. Well, what a welcome, what an occasion, and what a stage for Harry Kewell and for Brett Emerton to show just why they've been worth all the hype. They're back, and the A-League is back, and we're not just hungry for football, we are ravenous. The banner unveiled by the Blue and White Brigades. There's a new relationship this season between the Victorian Police and the fans and Etihad Stadium. There's been a lot of talk between them, and even the FFA got involved to help get that banner across the line. So well done to all parties concerned, including Ben Buckley, who made a personal request for the Melbourne supporters to be allowed to show that banner today. Our referee today, by the way, the man who has to keep a lid on it is Peter Green. The coach is, of course, Vitoslav Levitska, a veteran of these games. This is his 10th, and he's lost just 2. And this, of course, is the scene of his greatest triumph, winning the grand final on penalties against the Victory 2 seasons ago. And as for Mehmet Durakovic, well, it's almost been forgotten amid the hype, the fact that he's taking charge of a club at senior level for the very first time. Some debut for him. Peter Green, by the way, taking charge of his 80th A-League match. Rob Allen and Hakan Anas run the lines. big day for the officials too. I'm sure the adrenaline is pumping for them as well. Fourth official is Strebre Dolowski. Well, Harry Kewell and Brett Everton have a friendship that goes back 20 years. They travelled to trial at Leeds together. Today they're on opposite sides, and they have created the biggest buzz the Hyundai A-League has ever seen. Sydney FC, so disappointing last season, a 9th place finish. They know that they cannot disappoint so badly again. And as for the victory, well, they're going through something of a rebuilding phase themselves. A new coach and a new star player. And what will these two star men bring not only to their clubs, but to the Hyundai A-League itself? We're about to find out. A wonderful occasion in Melbourne. The first game of the season, Melbourne victory against Sydney FC. The 21st instalment of the Big Blue. And away we go. The two biggest kids in the A-League playgrounds about to go toe-to-toe. And the pride of the uniform is everything today, Robbie Slater, but it's also about the two star men in opposition.
Well, of course it is, and they come here together this evening at Etihad Stadium. It's been two stellar careers overseas.
Here's Jamie Coyne trying to launch the first attack for Sydney FC. That'll be a goal kick.
But two very different pathways. Played together as kids. Harry went off. As you mentioned, Simon, this is his first game in home soil at club level. Brett Everton, a different pathway. Played a lot of games for Sydney Olympic in the NSL. Played in the 2000 Sydney Olympics before taking off for his stellar career, starting at Feyenoord. And of course Blackburn Rovers, where he's highly respected. Both legends of the game already. Now we're about to write another exciting chapter in their careers.
Here's Shannon Cole. Sydney made a decent start here. Good shot by Shannon Cole, and stinging the palms of Ante Kovic, who of course is making his debut for Melbourne victory after that injury sustained during the week by Tando Valapi. And first involvement for Harry Kewell. Cheers from the Melbourne victory fans. Here's Matthew Fashidi. Wide right is Marco Rojas. Really exhilarating debut season for Wellington Phoenix, and Melbourne got a chance here. Danny Alsop, and that's a great save from Liam Rennie to deny Melbourne victory, their first goal of the season. Rojas initially wriggling through the Sydney defence. Still they come, the dark blues through Fabio. That's rather easier for Rennie.
What a save this is from Kovic. They just get in each other's way. It's Boschgard and Beecham's in there, and it falls to Danny Alsop. There's no offside. And Reddy with a point-blank save.
Here's Everton. And Flynn to Carl. Good football by Sydney. Bridge! Great save by Kovic at the other end. A chance apiece for both sides in the opening 5 minutes. Bridge using the body well. Oh, down he goes, and it's a penalty, says Peter Green. And I think that looks like a good decision. Fabio dragging down Mark Bridge. He gets a yellow card too, and Sydney FC have a penalty in the 33rd minute.
Well, it's just poor defending. There's really no need to do that, Fabio. The little flick from Antonis, and he gets on the wrong side. Mark Bridge uses his body very well, but Adrian Leyer was coming across to cover. It's a silly foul. He's got his hands around him there. There's really no need to do. You see Leyer coming across his cover. The first mistake is his body position.
And look who's going to take the spot kick. He scored in pre-season from the penalty spot against Perth Glory. Can he repeat the dose in the Big Blue against Ante Kovic? Oh, it's saved by Ante Kovic! What a wonderful save! And Brett Everton is denied his moment of glory on his Sydney FC debut. What a stop from Kovic! I'll tell you what, Robbie, I don't think that was a bad penalty.
Well, I'll have to disagree with you. I didn't think it was a great one.
Well, he's still got a chance here, Everton, and Kovic denies him again.
He gets the right way. I thought it was rather weakly struck. Down to his right. It's not really in the corner. Once he gets the right way, I think it was a pretty regulation save for Kovic. Not taking anything away from the save. I don't think that was Emo's best ever penalty, but it happens.
Well, we should always credit the goalkeeper, I suppose, when the penalty is missed, unless they blast it wide. Confirmation of the yellow card for Fabio, who'll be the most relieved man at Etihad Stadium.
I was about to say that, but it's certainly given as if the crowd needed another lift, but they have after this. You see how Brett, he just skips after it, and that's sometimes when you know you haven't hit it that well. Kovic takes the credit, rightfully so. He gets the right way, but he just didn't get the complete angle he wanted on that, Brett Emerton. He wanted to go more in the corner, and it's not really in the right direction.
So a let-off for Melbourne victory. Sydney FC perhaps have a little bit of belief. Carl teeing up Bridge, who fires one, and again at Kovic. This time with the flying fingertip save.
Well, Melbourne have had most of the possession and probably played the better football in this half, but Kovic has made some wonderful saves. That's a great save. Full stretch with his left hand, a strong hand as well, and pushes it away. Good strike from Bridge.
Chested down by Nick Carl. Jeremy Coyne pushing forward. McFlynn. Oh, didn't look, Terry McFlynn. Could be costly for Sydney FC because they're a bit stretched here. Danny Allsop charging down the left. It goes right instead to Rojas. Chipped in towards Kewell. Oh, what a save by Liam Reddy to deny Harry Kewell his opening goal for Melbourne victory.
Well, what a move and what a save from Liam Reddy. A flowing counter-attack. It started with a poor pass from Terry McFlynn. Rojas, look at that for a leap. Rojas with the cross. Great leap from Harry Kewell, who starts it all off. Rojas gets his head up, clips this one up, clips this one in. Look at that for a save from Liam Reddy. Clawed it out of the top corner.
Rojas with the corner. And again, Reddy is there. Here's his first involvement. Turning away from McFlynn. Still going. Harry Kewell. Just for a moment, the large gallery thought that might have been
the moment.
Bridge, lovely little touch. Shannon Cole trying to roll away from his marker, but Cuscini was too wise. And here comes Rojas. Running at pace. Squares it up. Harry Kewell. Oh, and it grazes the top of the netting. Well, you could almost hear the North Terrace shouting shoot when Harry Kewell got the ball there. Well, and shoot he did.
Well, he was always going to shoot. Good work from Rojas. He's so direct. He's running at Jamison. He's got Antonis chasing him. Good little shimmy there. And this time he does get his head up and he picks out Kewell, and it's not far away. Good power. It was just rising and whistled over the bar. See a bit of movement as well.
Out of some space here, sorry Robbie, for Lee Broxham to try and exploit. Also goes away left. It's a solid challenge from Beecham, who claims quite vehemently that he won the ball. I say at first glance I thought he had a point there, but
probably got a point.
Replay might tell us differently, Robbie.
I think Lee Broxham gets a little bit lucky here. He hung on to that ball. Took two extra touches. He had Rojas completely unmarked on his right-hand side. I think he gets the ball there. I think he's a little bit lucky there, Broxham. Beecham certainly thinks so.
Well, Sydney will hope that that decision doesn't cost them.
It's a fair distance, isn't it? takes something special.
Harry Kewell territory, perhaps. This is though it might be teed up for him by Grant Brebner.
Breach has got to be careful because he'll get himself a yellow card.
Well, Sydney are furious. I don't believe it should be a free kick in the first place.
Well, that doesn't mean the wall can move.
That's true. So here we go, take two. Now we've got some push and shove in the wall, and there's going to be a red card here. Oh dear.
There was a bit of push and shove. And it went behind the wall, so...
Now it's getting really ugly between Reddy and Adrian Leia getting involved as well. There's been some punches thrown here. Down goes Leia, and from really what was a nothing situation, tempers are frayed on both teams. Mark Bridge is having the early bath, and Liam Reddy came across, and Adrian Leia was already involved in a verbal altercation. Nicky Carl is having his say too. And all of a sudden it has got very, very heated indeed in the big blue.
I'm just trying to think of the player who was pushing Mark Bridge. There certainly was, because Mark Bridge was the charger. It's Roddy Vargas. And the forearm was lifted a bit. I think what the Sydney players are saying, there wasn't any contact there.
Well, there is contact. There's no doubt about it. That's a stiff arm in
stiff arm on the side of the head.
Parlance.
Danny Allsop just looks and...
I don't think there could be too many arguments about that. Beecham and Leia involved in some handbags. Liam Reddy getting involved. Goodness me.
Well, it's a shame. There hasn't really been... There's been a few bad challenges. There hasn't been really any malice in the game until this point. Leia gets a yellow card. Was that for falling over? I'm not sure he was hit that hard. Seemed to be a bit of a slap. But Mark Bridge did appear to use his forearm to the side of the head of Vargas.
I don't think there could be too many complaints about that, in all fairness. You can't put an elbow to the throat of your opponent and get away with it. Or whether it's Harry Kewell.
Well, Harry's certainly looked the most likely this evening, particularly in the second half.
Now Rojas, lovely ball in. Danny Allsop, another great stop from Liam Reddy. He has been right on his game today, the Sydney FC custodian.
He's on his toes and off his line. It's a clever ball. Brebner. Look at this from Rojas. Little ball in behind Bosco. Not the best of positioning.
Cole. Nicky Carl. For the free kick, and well, again, it's a talking point whether we should have had it or not. Solorzano. Rojas, little 1-2. Solorzano on again. Reddy denies him. Outstanding goalkeeping.
The ball through that, he was off his line very quickly. That's a foul, isn't it?
No. Peter Green says play on, but only for a second or two, and it's all over at Etihad Stadium, and Sydney FC players embrace. They feel it's a hard-earned point for them, but they did miss a penalty in this game. Harry Kewell was one of the outstanding contributors. The two goalkeepers too, Ante Kovic particularly in the first half. Liam Reddy with some absolutely blinding saves. So a point apiece is how it finishes. Big Blue ends in stalemate as it did on 2 out of the 3 occasions last season, but this was really all about the occasion. It was about Kewell, it was about Emerton, and that certainly lived up to its billing. So the final scoreline at Etihad Stadium, it's ended in a draw. Melbourne victory 0, Sydney FC 0.